Hello, everyone. Um, I kept hearing mirror. I kept hearing mirror for this reading, like over and over again. Um, I was trying to kind of figure out what it meant. Um, I kind of initially thought to like read the cards in backwards order, um, but the reading makes sense in the regular order. I don't think that was meant to. Um, it wasn't meant for me and how to read the cards, right? But I immediately took it that way. Um, which may relate to your situation, may not. Um, I just wanted to say that because that doesn't happen very often. It hasn't happened very often for me. A word or anything like getting stuck in my head like that as I'm pulling cards. Um, so I feel that is probably significant for someone. Um, anyway, I feel a kind of like lightness to this, definitely. Um, I think things are maybe much less serious than you think they are. I think things are much less serious than you think they are. That's the vibe I'm getting here. Where you're at right now is temperance, right? Where you're at right now is because of temperance, which is a card of balance, of giving, of um, loving others, right? Um, kind of a very loving energy and a very balanced energy. Um, and this is some kind of new beginning that you're in, right? With the Fool card here, this is some kind of new beginning. Maybe you finally found a kind of balance in your life, and kind of have grown content um, in how you do things, right? You finally found a way to do things that you finally found a way to do things that makes you feel good, right? That speaks to you. You are not here yet. That's what I just felt there. Um, that is, yeah, that's, yeah. You're not there yet. You want to be there. I think you really want to be there. Um, where you're at right now is this kind of balance, right? You have found balance in your life, um, whether it feels like it or not. Um, yeah, because you are feeling things are very serious right now. Um, this kind of the Two of Swords here is a very like serious, deep thinking, discerning energy, right? And it's in the position of what you need to cut away. Um, I really don't think you need to be here right now. And I could feel that when I was talking about the Five of Wands thing. Like, I think if you put this down, you would like genuinely, you would feel content with how you've handled things and how you've been doing things, and um, inevitably though, right? This is the best outcome, right? Which is how you feel about yourself, right? But what is going to happen is justice, right? You're going to get your justice. Justice is going to happen, right? Um, like this new beginning that you're stepping into because you found balance in your life, uh, is going inevitably to lead to justice, right? You're gonna get what you deserve. You're gonna get what you deserve. Um, and I don't know what the mirror meant. That wasn't for me to know. But I do know that lightness I felt in the beginning, right? You like things are way lighter than they feel, right? I could feel how you felt when I started talking about this card, right? I started talking about you feeling content with how you are handling things. I felt that anxiety around that and that stress around that, like that kind of self-confidence issue, right? Of you probably are very much a person who holds yourself to a high standard, which is not a bad thing. Not a bad thing at all. But I think you might be being a little bit too hard on yourself. And you might not be letting yourself, like, you might not be appreciating the things that you are doing well, right? It might be the kind of thing where you do something well and you're proud of it, but you don't really take a moment to acknowledge it. You're like, yeah, of course, I have to. I expect myself to do that. No need to congratulate myself for it. Keep going, right? Yeah, but this is the most positive thing, is being able to be content with how you've been handling things, right? And doing things your own way, the way that you've been doing them, feeling proud of that, right? And to get there, you kind of have to cut out this very discerning, very serious energy, right? Like, you're just kind of being asked to lighten up a little bit, is pretty much the gist of it. But genuinely, like, this is a good thing. I'm gonna pull some more cards because this is a little bit short, and I kind of got everything I needed out of that really quick. Ace of Swords and the Nine of Wands. So you are, like, very, very defensive. Like, very discerning, very defensive, right? But I also see this, the Ace of Swords, right? I think you have a reason to be, right? I really do think you have a reason to be like this, right? Like, I do this a lot with myself, right? When I get very, how I defend myself is a Queen of Swords type of energy, right? Calculating, pragmatic, can feel a little bit cold, right? But it's very logical, it's very analytical, it's very straight to the point, cutting through like bullshit, right? That's how I get when I feel I need to defend myself. Maybe you are the same way. I wouldn't think that. Yeah, I think you're probably the same way. And we need that, right? We need that as a part of us. It's not telling you, I'm not trying to tell you to get rid of that part of yourself. That part of yourself has gotten you through some really rough shit, okay? It's gotten you through some tough times, right? I think that's why this is coming out, because, like, there's nothing wrong with having that, right? Sorry, I should have held up both of these. That's why this is coming out, right? Because there's nothing wrong with having those. Like, it is natural for us to have these ways to defend ourselves when we've been through a life we had to defend ourselves from, right? When we've been around people we had to defend ourselves from, right? Like, natural. We're human beings. We want to survive. We build things to help ourselves do that. And yours just happens to be um, a very discerning type of like no bullshit type of view. And this Two of Swords can also just be a kind of like not taking sides kind of thing too, right? It's like I see everything, right? But it's not. The Two of Swords is not taking sides. I shouldn't have said that. It is. You see both sides clearly, right? You see both sides clearly, and from how you see things, right? Even though like, and this is depicted as blind because it's more of a feeling, right? You feel what is wrong and what is right, right? But you see both things clearly. You feel both things clearly, and you know which one is right for you and you know which one is wrong, right? Which when you bring that into a situation that does not need it, it can become very destructive, right? When you bring that into a situation that does not need that type of discerning, cold, like, no bullshit energy, right? In a lighter situation, in a more balanced situation, and more fun situation, it can create a lot of turbulence, right? Yeah. And what's really interesting, like, I don't see the situation here. I think the situation could be very different. But you're gonna know from this, right? You're gonna know what situation I'm talking about, right? Because there are parts of our life where we need this, right? And there are parts where we don't. And that changes, week to week, month to month, year to year, right? But I think you're really gonna know. Yeah, I think you're really gonna know what this is about and where this applies to your life. Yeah, that's the reading. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a good one. See you in the next one. There we go.